Street. So, in stage 0, well, the first phase of stage 0, Alzheimer's isn't there. Memories are completely normal. I thought that the symptoms that I provided in the original album were a bit too strong for, well, stage 0, with the one track that samples Melancholy Baby, the one that was live by the Pathé Performance and 34 by Boley. I think that the symptoms that I added were a bit too much, if you know what I mean. So, tracks will be normal, although in phase 2, as Dante said it best, Alzheimer's takes its first breath, although confusion and, well, anything is basically nothing. It's not there at all. Nothing is wrong. There's no forgetting. Except, I think that I may use the idea of the looping track, except make the track longer, slightly, and then loop it for, like, the last song. So, instead of it just being pitched down, which was... I feel like that I was too much inspired by Dante Timberwolf's All the Grand Memories of All the Lovely Years. So, basically, Phase 2 is basically nothing. Maybe tracks are pitched down by 1 or 2. Phase 1 is normal. Now, if we're going to talk about Stage 1, the first phase of Stage 1 is normal. Now, of course, I think that how I presented the basic stage of Alzheimer's in Stage 1 of my project, I think I presented that well. Now, of course, there are better examples, but I think that it's just... I presented that well. Now, of course, you got Dinner for One Please James, the sample to the first track, but I want to kind of improve on that idea. I want to have tracks come back, such as the one song that appears at stage 3. It samples Prisoner of Love. It appears at stage 1, but I want it to appear in stage 0. And at stage 1, it's pitched down, more heavy static is played, and there's a bit more reverb, except that's basically it. It also may cut off the end of the song at, like, a different note. Essentially, stage 1 is the beginning of what we would call a daydream. And memory loss, it's barely there. It's sort of like, stage 0. Slightly more memory loss is involved in the second phase, though. That is when memories seem to be almost out of it. But not out of it in a sense of, like, fully out of it. In a sense of how, if you're slightly sleep deprived, you're a bit different. It's a bit like a daydream again. Phase 3 of, stage 1 is when symptoms start to show. It's the beginning of stage 2, which I will get on to in a few minutes. It's where memory loss is apparent, and the patient may realize that something is wrong. Stage 2 is the beginning of the realization that the patient has Alzheimer's. The patient may realize this on their own or by family members. I'll play like a preview. Let me get the file. I'll play it for like an example. I'll stop it right there. Everyone gets the gist of that through a single loop. So, essentially, there's speculation and curiosity in this. Later gets them diagnosed with this, of which the mood of the patient drops extremely fast. Depression sets in, and denial is sure to come. Now, ask any guy. Okay, that sounds a bit cliche, but I know about denial. And denial, it will be represented by tracks that have, a slight tinge of wrongness. And, obviously there's the 5 stages of depression. Well, the thing happens, and then there's denial, then there's begging, then there's acceptance. There's a few more. I forget the other ones, but, oh, that is bright. Sorry, there was a light. In phase 2 of stage 0, the mood of the patient is lower than low. There's not much to say about that. And, I think I might have to cut that short. But, eventually, everything will just go downhill. Stage 3 is worse. Stage 4, clarity here and there. Stage 5, clarity not represented by entire tracks anymore, but slight bits in confusion. Stage 6, I didn't do a stage 6 last time, but I assume, not assuming, I'm the guy that made it. I will do the entire 7, 8, no, probably not 8, because that just seems like I'm ripping off Dante. Maybe I'll combine the 7th stage with the entire terminal lucidity. So, that is the plans for that. Now, anyway,